How to read somebody like a book. Welcome to day 1233 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the corporate world to the online world, and a little bit of back and forth these days. 2020 showed me personally, and I already knew, that at least here in America, we need more strong, flexible, pivotable businesses that exist in both worlds, the offline world and the online world. I've been saying it for a long time, knew it for a long time even before I got online, just didn't have the time and energy to do it while I was running my businesses offline. And I understand why that's a challenge for people. It is. We get so busy and so inundated with what we're doing, it's really hard to think about adding another thing. We don't really have to add another thing, we just have to find a way to get that done for our business. It doesn't mean we physically, personally have to do it. So I'm talking today in our Supersize Your Business Challenge. Every day I share with the business group how to grow your business, and I do it in a way using idioms. I take an idiom, what does it mean, where does it come from, and then I apply that to, well, how do you use that in your business? And I guess I might not have done that good a job tying it into, well, how do you use this for your business? I should have been more explicit in my explanation of that. But basically, if you can read someone like a book, if you understand people, if you feel like you know where they're coming from, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, how they're reacting to the communications that you're having with them, think of the power of that in negotiations. Think of the power of that in leading and coaching and training people to be a part of your organization, to create the business that you want, to supersize your business. Incredibly powerful. And so part of a reading challenge I'm involved in, my last book for that challenge, I actually had to read ahead because I'm hanging out with my granddaughters for the next couple of weeks while their parents are in Alaska. They just took off on the plane today. I'm doing a reading challenge, and I knew if I didn't finish all the books by the time I was watching the girls, I might end up not being able to get to it. Well, I read all of them, but I decided that this book is one I really want to consume and read the whole thing. Never really read or studied body language at all. Done the DISC analysis, done the Myers-Briggs, done all those personality things, but I think there's more to our communication, and I'm working on communication this year personally to understand and become a better communicator, and not a formulaic communicator like this is how you do your videos, because that doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to be like everybody else. I never have wanted to be like everybody else. So it's just me acquiring different skills and things, and then sharing what I learn along the way. So I'm excited to actually dive into this whole book. Avil Beckford is the one that does these reading challenges, and they're incredibly powerful, by the way. If you would like to know more about her, hit me up in the comments below, and I will be glad to connect you. She is an amazing woman. She has the best book summaries and pulling out the lessons learned of anyone I know when it comes to reading books, and reading books on all kinds of topics, not just business books. I fall into the guilty trap of only pretty much reading business books. I don't read as much as I used to due to my vision these days. So the books I read tend to be all business related, or all, because business is kind of my hobby. It is my hobby. So I love reading things like that. But now I'm learning and expanding and growing into a few other areas like communication and confidence this year. I'm in a program that teaches and focuses on communication and confidence, the importance of the words we use, how we say, what we say, how we say things, and how that impacts our feelings about ourselves and about other people, and how we interact with in our relationships. So why I love these two areas, and why I decided that I would work on them this year personally from a personal development standpoint, is because they're foundational to all the other areas and aspects of our life. There's some things that we do that give us a lot more bang for our buck, and one of those is if we work on our confidence, if we work on our mindset, if we work on our self-talk, if we work on our belief systems, if we work on our thoughts and feelings, if we understand ourselves better. Thus, the annual challenge this year to do one thing every day that centers us. It's the All About You challenge to get to know myself better, to understand why I do what I do, what makes me tick, and then choose, do I want to keep doing the things I'm doing because they work for me and they're moving me in the direction I want to go? Or do I want to change some of those things and show up differently? So it'll always be me. I've learned that the most important thing that any of us can do is to be ourselves. The one lesson, if somebody were to ask me one lesson I learned from my son cardiac arrest and actual death experience. I would say it's the importance of being ourselves and loving who we are and becoming the best version of that and experiencing this life as only we uniquely can. I guess that's probably more than one thing, but it's all much together for me, and it feels like one thing. You know, be loving, love being, be you has been my motto for 10 plus years now, since that experience. So learning more and having a better foundation and being a better communicator and choosing my words more wisely. Heaven knows I need to do a better job of that, or could do a better job of that. Don't know if I need to, but I always could do a better job of that. Makes me excited to actually dig into this book and spend more time reading it and reading all of it versus just skimming through and picking out the highlights. Because some books, especially business books, we can do that. We can read, and I've done this for long before I met Abil. If I wanted to know about a topic, I remember outsourcing. I wanted to know about outsourcing. I remember I did the same thing in corporate America. If I wanted to learn about a topic, I would go out and I would find as many resources as I could on that. Now, if there were thousands, I wouldn't get thousands, but I would get the best resources, like 10 to 20 on a topic, and I would go through all those. I would read them, I'd skim them, I'd study them, but I wouldn't read them word for word necessarily. I don't think every book that's written is written to be consumed word for word. Now, there's many authors, I'm sure, who would disagree with me, but my opinion is we take what we need from everything, right? We take what we need from the internet. We take what we need at the time. We're always trying to answer a primary question, one main question. At least we want to break it down to one when we're consuming any kind of information. What's our hypothesis from a scientific perspective? What is the question that we're asking as we're consuming anything? Because maybe it's just for entertainment. If I'm just turning on Netflix or Hulu or one of the other streaming things or Disney Channel, why am I turning that on? Well, it's almost always for entertainment. I don't consume any, video media except for pretty much entertainment. Maybe education, but there's not, documentaries here and there, but for the most part, any documentary that you see has really been filtered through the eyes of just like every book we read is filtered through the eyes and the experience of the author. And that's why we want to read several things on a topic, not just one or two. It's why we hopefully don't watch the news, but if you do watch the news, it's why you don't watch just one news channel. And unfortunately, the vast majority of people, probably in the world, but in America for sure, have been trained their entire life, at least in my entire life, we were trained that you watch the news once a day, that you watch, and then, heaven forbid, 24-hour news came online and on the TVs and the internet. The worst thing that ever happened to America, because to find 24 hours worth of stuff and headlines and propaganda and lies and attention grabbing stuff, it means those news organizations now scour the world for all of the attention getting horrible dramatic things that they can find or make up to present to us. And so I gave up watching any kind of news media, etc. in the mid 80s, late 80s. It was in the 1980s, I remember. It was through a training program with Procter & Gamble, and we were challenged during this week-long training program to turn off the news and not watch the news. And I turned off the news and I never went back to watching. I can count on maybe two hands now the number of times that I've watched and participated in news media since then. One was 9/11, one was the Trump and Clinton presidential election, because that was interesting. And then there have been a couple with all of the Trump and Biden stuff that it was just interesting. And I would almost say that was almost as much for entertainment purposes, all of those media, as it was for any understanding or education or any information and factual things as to what was really going on in the world. All right, so our annual challenge today was about when we give something to someone, we get something in return. And I think we all know that. We give what we want to receive. And it was about, it's a Chinese proverb, a bit of fragrance always clings to the hand that gives you roses. And so that was a fun one too. It's about reminding us the importance of, giving what we want to receive and enjoying and realizing how much we actually do enjoy giving and what we get out of that process as well, right? any interchange among human beings, there's a give and a take, there's a give and a receive, there's a, and hopefully there's some reciprocation, but there isn't always, but it always just feels good to give people and to help other people and to do what you can. I say we all need to just do what we can to make the world a better place, and if we're doing that, and if everybody's doing that, the world will automatically become a better place. So that's what I'm working on right now. Granddaughters for the next 2 weeks, so that means busy, 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 and I expect massive chaos and entertainment and fun and joy and love and laughter, and lots of poopy diapers. So go out, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow with share what we did in Supersize Your Business, share what we did in the annual challenge, share maybe an update on some projects that I'm working on. Maybe, maybe not. I've kind of got everything on hold for like a 2-week period, except the minimum, to make sure that the beautiful human beings in my life get the attention and love that they deserve, because they are my #1 priority, especially nowadays. All right, have an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.